What's up, pagan people? Drew here. I really want to do this video. This is my second attempt. It's difficult because I just don't know how in depth I want to get with it, if I'm honest. So Sam basically was inspired, I think, to talk about speaking up for her beliefs because she attended a bunch of weddings, and in the weddings, some of them, weddings tend to be a spiritual, religious event in someone's life, particularly if they're very spiritual or very religious. And so there are varying degrees of this running through any given ceremony. I would say that the modern American wedding and the way that's handled, like I went to the Justice of the Peace, and it was just a quick little thing, but they still talked about God. So even though it was not a religious ceremony at all, it was simply a legal binding, Christianity still made its way in. It's just kind of how it's done here, unless you specifically go out of your way to make it not so. Finding herself in these situations where she's being asked to bow her head and pray with everyone had her questioning all these things and thinking about just the logistics of the whole thing. And if there were times in her life where maybe she wasn't speaking up for her spirituality, for her path, being the best advocate maybe with family and friends or something. And this obviously is just my interpretation of what I heard her say. To really understand what she said, you should absolutely go check out her video. I will leave a link below. And then Trish from BeanbagHagWag did a VR, and she was talking about her experience in general and then specifically with family. And that sort of inspired me to talk because I have thoughts and ideas about the topic. I'm always me. I'm who I am. And I think that's, for most of us, if not everyone, it's true that our spiritual beliefs, specifically if they are very strong, kind of permeate and bleed out into the rest of our life. So my political views, everything is tainted by my spiritual beliefs and ideas and experiences. So I can't help it. I'm me regardless. I may not give all of me to everyone, but I'm me. When I find myself in these situations where, people maybe at a family gathering and people are praying before a meal, I will just look down. I don't pray. Now, granted, if they're talking about something that I find relevant, they're not just like, oh, thanks for the food and thanks for family and stuff like that. I mean, that's all lovely. But I mean, if there's something specific, if there's a tragedy happening or, someone's in need of assistance or, I might be like, oh yeah, but, for me, I talk, I don't pray. For me, I am pantheistic and animistic. So I feel everything has a spirit and an energy, and it has its own personality, its own life to an extent, but it's still all part of a greater whole. It's all created from one thing. So, I'm not going to ask my pinky toe to bow down and worship me. And for me, prayer is an offshoot of worship. Prayer, they go hand in hand. I talk to spirit, I talk to guides and angels, I talk to deceased loved ones, I talk to the earth, I talk to the water, the air, the sun, fairies, I talk to everything. And I do absolutely love and respect them, but I don't pray. So most of the time, if prayer is going on around me, I just look down. And for me, that is, I am acknowledging that you are doing something that's very important and sacred to you, and I respect that. But I am not part of that. And I'm not going to pretend to be either. I'm just going to give you your moment, let you have it, and go on about my business. That's, as one spiritual being to another, as one beautiful manifestation of spirit in the flesh to another. I'm going to give you that and respect that and hold space for that without participating in it, just because it's not my thing. I'm not going to ask you to come do ritual with me. It's not your thing. It's cool. So basically, I'm happy to give other people their space to do whatever it is. I don't have to be like, well, I'm pagan and thus, like, I'm not gonna, who cares? I'm not gonna rain on your parade. And honestly, I feel like if there's a situation because I used to feel awkward. This was even before I said, I am pagan, I am witch. I remember in junior high school, being around friends or whatever groups and there being prayer and feeling like oh, what do I do? Like not knowing what to do. And like I wasn't even out of high school yet before I figured out, just let you do your thing. Because it's inauthentic for me to sit and try to pray or pretend to pray while you're doing something that's very important to you. And I feel like it's almost disrespectful. And I also feel like if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if your head is bowed and your eyes are closed, you're never going to know that I'm not doing the same thing anyway. And if you do know, it's because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. It has nothing to do with me. You're being a naughty Christian. There are definitely going to be those people too, but oh well. Like, you don't affect my life. I need to be true to myself, and I need to be respectful of you and your path as well. That's the way I feel about it. Someone says Merry Christmas to me, I say you too. When I worked retail, I said Happy Holidays, but that's because I understand that not everyone is Christian. Again, I wasn't even actively walking my pagan path the first time I worked retail. I just knew I wasn't Christian. And I knew that there were Jewish people in the world. Like whatever, Muslims, like not everyone celebrates Christmas. Not everyone is Christian. Even many of the people who celebrate Christmas don't do it with the hardcore spirit of this is Christ's birthday. It's just a traditional American holiday for them, or wherever you may be if you're celebrating. Speaking as an American, this is the perspective I have. So I would say Happy Holidays. But again, if someone says to me, Merry Christmas, I'm just like, you too, even though I don't celebrate Christmas at all. At all. Haven't since my mother died in 2011. And even then, I was celebrating both Yule and Christmas. I say I was celebrating Christmas. I would help her set up for Christmas, and we would have the kids open presents on Christmas. But once she passed away, everything went to Yule. Christmas means nothing to me. The winter solstice does. I get it. But again, out of respect for you and in the spirit, I know you are, this is something, if you are Christian, Christmas is a very holy, beautiful, wonderful celebration for you. And that's the spirit in which you are giving me that Merry Christmas. So yes, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I mean, I don't say it like that, but again, you too. Good. Yes. Nice. And I'm not like, ugh, wish me Happy Yule or Happy Holiday. I'm just like, they are trying to share this sentiment with me. That's nice. And go on about my business. Specifically, my experience is a lot stickier. And again, I don't want to get into super detail just because I don't think my husband would care, but because it's his side of the family, I just feel like it's not wholly my story to share. But I will say certain members of his family do not accept our spirituality. And there was a time where it was ugly and contentious. And I think around 2009, 2010, we just stopped talking about spirituality or anything, even remotely politics, anything. My husband's brother's family is on one extreme and we are on the other. Like, we are complete opposites. We have very little in common. Like I said, things got contentious for a while, and then we just stopped talking about anything that could be contentious, and we were just very sort of shallow and superficial in our dealings with them. All of this came crashing down around in August. It was in August of 2018. It all came crashing down. So between 2009, 2010 to 2018, there was this sort of this happy level medium where we thought everything was kosher. Like we just thought we were able to be in a space of agree to disagree and just respect each other. That's what we thought. But really deep down, I guess I kind of always knew that probably wasn't it. Although I have to say we felt blindsided. We bought this house in 2012, and then we started inviting them into our house because we would get together at birthdays and, different events. And we'd do this at different places. So we started hosting after 2012, and having them come into our home, I think, gave them a deeper insight into who we are and what it is we're about. No, that's not right. It gave them the license to assume they understood who we are and what we're about, because they have no concept of what we believe. Their perception of our beliefs is fully formed by their faith. They are Catholic, Before that, they were born again. They are the only born again Catholics I know, because that's how they behave. They don't behave like the normal Catholic I come into contact with. They behave like born again Christians, only they're Catholic. It's very sort of fundamentalist. So an event happened. It's a long story. It's complicated, but essentially they are bent on converting us, at least to Christianity, if not Catholicism. They are bent on it, and they are using they are using manipulative, underhanded ways. Oh God, they did something very hurtful, and they continue to do hurtful things. They're very condescending, and they've compared our path to someone committing suicide or heroin addiction, and they've taken active steps to convert us. When all we want, I would be happy if they would just tolerate our beliefs. If they would just tolerate, I would be happy with that. But they can't. They can't even, much less accept. They can't even tolerate our beliefs. And it's gotten really ugly. There's no contact at all at this point, which is very upsetting for my mother-in-law, because these are her sons. But the driving force behind it is my husband's brother. And like I said, it's really complicated. Like the first video I did about this, I was already 20 minutes in, and I was only partway through the story of like really getting into detail about it. And it's too much. And like I said, it's not necessarily my story. I'm not the one who's been hurt by it. I've just been made angry. I just kind of wanted to hit this topic from a different standpoint, I guess. I feel like I should absolutely be an advocate for my beliefs, but sometimes being an advocate for paganism or witchcraft can put you in physical danger. And like, that's never okay. But even if it's not to that extent, we haven't even gone out of our way to be advocates. We have just been honest. We've just said, this is who we are. This is what we believe, and left it at that. And they don't, oh gosh, some people can't hear that. They cannot hear that. They twist it. No, that's not what you believe. That's what Satan is deceiving you with. And that's, it's just, it's just a thing. My brother-in-law stated in a letter that when you go out to convert people to Catholicism, the church teaches that you're supposed to do so in a loving way, unless they believe as we do. And to me, that said, oh, so you can just treat us however. You can just be nasty. You can say whatever you want to say by any means necessary. Like, burn them. Like, whatever. Like, that's okay in this day and age. Like I said, this is something that's been going on since, I would say, 2003 or 2004. It's almost 2020, and it's escalated over the past year. It's gotten worse. They will never be able to see that our path is sacred to us. To them, we are lost. We are being deceived. We need to be saved. They cannot see past that. So it's like banging your head against a brick wall. I've been doing it. I actively did it from 2003, 2004, till 2009, 2010. Actively. Then there was that lull, and here we are now. So, I mean, there are just going to be people in this world who can't see it, can't accept. If you have a different truth than them, somehow that's threatening to them and their truth. Because for them, there is only one truth. And I don't know, they think they're God warriors or something. They are on a spiritual crusade to save us. I can't tell you how annoying that is. I always tell my husband that I hope that one day he'll be able to have a good relationship with his brother again, but I'm done. The rest of us don't want to have anything to do with them. Our spirituality, and I'm sure this is true for most of you, is the core of who we are. It is the most precious thing about me. It's the most authentic, true, real, important piece of me and who I am, how I touch the world. And to have someone say to you that that is equal to someone wanting to commit suicide, that that is equal to someone who is addicted to heroin, that you are wrong and you're being deceived and that you're being manipulated and it's bad. And the video is getting off track. My point is that there's more than one way to be an advocate for your beliefs. There are ways that are helpful and positive, and there are ways that are not. So I think we need to be discerning, and we need to pick and choose when we advocate and how we advocate, I guess is my point. But we should absolutely be authentic and be who we are in any given situation. That just doesn't mean we have to give all of ourselves to everyone. And I think these conversations are great to have. And I would love to hear other people's perspectives and situations. I would love for more people to talk like Trish, where, you know, at the end, her sister accepts her and loves her. And that's beautiful. And that's the kind of world that I want to live in. All right, I'm gonna stop rambling about this. I just got way off topic. I don't know. This is where my brain went when watching these videos. So thank you for putting up with me, for listening to that whole thing. And as always, until next time, much love and gratitude.